A star has a life cycle just like we do. Stars, just like humans, have a beginning, middle, and end. The life cycle of a star begins as a nebula, or a large cloud of dust and gas. As time passes, the nebula gets more dense and gravity begins to take its course by causing dust to collapse and clump together. In the center of the nebula, a protostar, aka a newborn star, is gathering mass from its parent molecular cloud. This newborn star exerts high amounts of gravity onto the other dust clumps, causing them to orbit and potentially form planets. When the core of the star reaches 10 million K, this newborn star has formally become a main sequence star, just like our Sun. Our star, the Sun, is perfect for the Earth that we live on, due to the Sun's moderate temperature, distance from the Earth, medium radiation levels, and medium age and size. 90% of the stars in the universe are main sequence stars. Many people might think that a star with more mass can last longer, but the fact is that it can't, because a star with more mass will burn faster than the stars with less mass. The scientists found out that most stars like to be together. They often orbit around each other. For instance, binary star is two stars that orbit around each other. However, for some reason, our Sun was born alone, without any companion star.
After some time, stars will die just like all species do. There are two ways a star can die depending on their mass. An average star like our Sun dies by slowly shading its outer shell. Eventually becoming nebula, with the core of that nebula being the remaining white dwarf. In the other scenario regarding high energy and mass stars, a star can swell up and begin fusing elements that are more and more massive, like iron, eventually becoming a supergiant. The result of a supergiant is a supernova. A supernova occurs as the star runs out of nuclear fuel. Eventually, the core gets so heavy that it cannot withstand its own gravitational force. The core collapses, which results in a giant explosion of a supernova. The most amazing thing about supernova is it's not only a huge explosion, it's the source of all elements we have on Earth. A supernova will shoot up tons of elements that will create the next stars or even a new galaxy. That's why we can assume before we have our Sun, there had been a supernova which created the Sun and all the elements we have in our solar system. Just like any species, star will die, give back to the environment they are living in, and even start another life cycle of a star. Compare our Sun with a supergiant, and compare the Earth with it, and finally look at how small we are standing on the Earth. Although we are rather negligible compared to those massive stars out in the universe, just by looking at the sky we can know what was happening 1,000 light years away from our Earth. We can also learn what had happened before we even exist. That's what makes us special. Now, anytime we look at the stars, they are not only eyes that blinks in the night sky. They are the source of all our elements.
Now, whenever we look at a nebula, it is not only a beautiful cloud of dust and gas, it is also a baby bumper for a newborn star.
In the core of a main sequence star, hydrogen atoms are fusing frequently. This fusion of hydrogen into helium releases an immense 4.3 billion kilograms of mass that is converted into energy every second. Nuclear fusion is an incredibly powerful energy source. However, it is also extremely difficult to control, which is why mankind has not yet harnessed the power of nuclear fusion. Fusion will produce an outward force, whereas the gravity of the star provides an inward force. These two forces together will make a star more stabilized. In fusion, two protons collide at a fast speed, causing a proton to emit a positron and a neutrino. This is how protons can convert into neutrons. In fusion, elements like hydrogen fuse together to form more massive elements like helium. When regarding fusion, the limit to which elements can fuse together is iron, meaning that anything below the mass of iron is capable of fusing together to form larger elements.